Well, hello and good evening. As you can see, it is evening where I am. And I'm outside because Daniel at the Starbucks was trying to get his phone activated, so I had to step outside. Just being flexible. So, anyway, we're here tonight and we're going to have some fun. We're going to kind of wrap up our talk on gaining some momentum here in 2026, starting off with some metabolic momentum. I'm Coach Neil, and I am a health coach, and I'm here to help. So, we talked before about a lot of things, the causes of weight loss resistance and stalls. We've talked about the barriers that maybe you face, barriers to change, some resistance to change, and what some of those might be, and just give you some things to think about. We talked about the four pillars of PhD synergy and how to start and how to get all of those pieces working in connection with each other because they all feed off of one another. Um, and we talked about how to master the mundane and how to look at the process, embracing the process. Don't look look at the goal, but focus on the process and embrace that process. And so tonight is going to be implementing those four pillars. Um, Sustainability beats intensity every single time. You don't want to just go all out and then you're flash in the pan. Today it's what is this, January 8th. Go to all the gyms just this coming weekend and see how many people aren't back from last weekend. And you'll probably not be too surprised. People, they want to go all out and gung ho, and they're a flash in the pan. When you have something that's sustainable, that's how you're going to have long-term success. Now, what are those pillars? Let's review those. It's PhD synergy. The synergy starts with a proper human diet. A proper human diet is a spectrum that ranges from low carb, to paleo, to keto, to ketovore, carnivore, and then the lion, and everywhere in between. It's a spectrum, and you'll be able to find your sweet spot on that ketogenic spectrum somewhere. It's going to be right for you for right now in your journey. And here's the thing: it may change as your body changes over. You get some body recomposition. You get your hormones back, aligned, and you get everything kind of kicking on and running on all cylinders. That may change. Carnivore might be a great elimination diet, but then once you'll be able to throttle back a little bit into a ketovore or a keto. Um, and I wouldn't say necessarily you need to jump right into a carnivore or a lion diet. It might be better for you the way your body responds to start with just a low carb or paleo. There's a lot of variance there, and that's why in our coaching practice we call it health coaching as unique as your fingerprint because everyone's needs are going to be different. But diet is going to be the first thing is a proper human diet. You're going to cut out all added sugars, all grains and starches. You're going to cut out industrial seed oils. How cool is it that just yesterday, uh, in the U.S. anyway, they just released the new dietary guidelines, and that the traditional pyramid that we're used to, that we knew was kind of not ideal, they flipped it over. So the thing at the bottom that you eat the least of is going to be grains, sugars, and starches. The thing that you're going to have the most of is going to be red meats and proteins, uh, fish, eggs, bacon. Those are going to be the things that you want to have on the majority of your diet. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We won't get into all of those here, but just take a look at those new guidelines, and it'll blow your mind how much healthier you'll be just by following that. So we're going to start with a proper human diet, and one of the things that you can do is take a one thing that you can do. We said don't go. One of the barriers was overwhelm to being ready to change. So if you say, all right, I want to get rid of everything, and I'm just going to do this and this only, and it's going to be go big or go home, and you'll go home. So ease into it, be committed, but you can ease into it. You can gradually, you know, replace things as you go. Um, so one thing you can do to help with that, you can do a pantry purge. Um, in our Four Pillars ebook that you can download for free at phdsynergy.com, there's some things that you can, you know, if you use this, replace with this. And there's a whole chart of foods for the pantry, for shopping, for regular grocery, for fresh stuff. So take a look at that, and that'll be a great place to start to swap some of these foods out. Another thing you can do is, do you want to maybe skip a meal just because you know you were told things like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and whenever that meal is, it is going to be an important meal, and how you break your fast, how you break fast, is going to be important. Who says that has to be the moment you wake up? I didn't. So maybe you want to experiment with, maybe don't eat until you're hungry. Listen to the cues that your body gives you. That could be one of the ways you can ease into it. We talked about yesterday about some SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. So maybe you say, hey, in the next week, I'm going to uh, not eat until 10 a.m. at the earliest, something like that. That could be an example. But pick one of those. Pick something from within pillar number one, the nutrition, the diet pillar, and set that as a goal, a nice entry goal. Not we're not asking you to do all the things. Pick one. Pick one that you say, I can see me doing that, and start there. Pillar number two. Do you remember what it was? It's the one that doesn't get as much attention as it probably should, and that is sleep and rest. So much happens metabolically. The metabolic healing that occurs while you're asleep is astonishing. Do a little homework on it. Do some, Google, Chat GPT, Grok. Uh, Check those out. Another AI tool that you might find handy for research is it's called Liner, or I think the website is getliner.com, and it's specific for medical research. So it's pretty cool. Of course, you can always, you should bookmark pubmed.gov. You want to look at some studies as well. Just understand how to read those. There's a lot of things that could be misleading if you don't know what to look for. But anyway, back to sleep. You want to get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. So if that's part of your goal, again, we're going to take pillar number two, sleep and rest, and we're going to say, what's one thing I can do this week? Maybe it's something as simple as, in order to get that 7 to 9 hours, I'm going to create or adjust my bedtime routine. I'm gonna get the room nice and cool, extremely dark. Can't see my hand in front of my face dark. It could be that. It could be I'm going to have a consistent time to go to bed all week, or it could be I'm going to have a consistent wake up time all week. And whatever it is, just jot it down, journal it. That's one thing in one of the other pillars that might just be a good thing to do too, is start a journal. That way you can document, it's not just for tracking, your macros, your protein, your fat, and your carbs, but it could also be for tracking sleep. It could be for tracking energy level and mood. And don't think of it all, as just a tracker. Don't think of it all as just stream of consciousness and getting your feelings out, getting them out of your head and onto paper. Think of it as all of the above. You can use tracking apps. You can use, good old pen and paper, whatever works for you. But maybe start that. Maybe in your journal, start, say, I'm going to set a consistent wake up time every day, even weekends and holidays. And I'm going to start doing that this week. And then you can check that every day, write it in your journal. and maybe right next to it you could track your energy. That could be something to do too. So rest and sleep, because that's important. Um, and that goes right into pillar number 3, which is activity and exercise. We kind of broke that down. There's two different things. Um, your exercise would be your formal activity, your formal exercise. That's going to the gym and lifting weights, doing some strength training, which I highly recommend. Most people in the U.S. are poorly under muscled, and muscle uh, does way more for your metabolism than not having it. So strength training, but you could also include some high intensity interval training, whether that's with some resistance training or with cardio or with both. You can do sprints. Those are all kind of fall under that category of formal exercise. You can do cardio if that's always been your jam. That's great too. There's nothing against it, other than you know watch out for your knees and ankles, your hips, back. Watch your joints. If it starts to hurt, don't do it. Um, but there's if you enjoy it, great. But also make sure that you get in there some strength training and some sprints maybe once a week. And that could be something that you again set a SMART goal for pillar number 3. I'm going to do strength training. Start with I've never done it. I'm going to do it one time a week. And you say, well, I don't have a gym membership, or I don't have any dumbbells or anything. You can do body weight exercises, all kinds. Go on YouTube, just look up body weight strength training, and all kinds for different areas of the body. I recommend if you're just starting, do body weight exercises for full body and then strength training. Those are some key words. Uh, that would include things like doing some air squats or some wall push-ups or countertop push-ups or on the floor push-ups, uh, crunches, thoracic twists. There's a lot of things you can do. I don't have any dumbbells. Well, you have some water bottles, pull them out. They're 16 ounces a piece. If you need more weight, get some milk jugs. That'll work too. But just start. That's the thing. Just start. Uh, we talked. One of the barriers to change and to progress was all or nothing thinking. And if you remember, the key word, the key phrase is done is better than perfect. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait for the gym membership or the whatever. Done is better than perfect. Do something. And guess what? Take one small step, then you take another small step, then you take another small step, and you just embrace that process, and it will just gradually ramp up. Uh, the other thing we talked about was general activity. One thing, a lot of people use the term NEAT, N-E-A-T, non-exercise. So it's not formal exercise, it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So the energy that you burn just by doing these non-exercise things like walking, uh, going up and down the steps, fidgeting, little things like that that don't fall into that category of exercise, but you do them anyway. That could be things like uh, doing some. Everyone uses the restroom at some point during the day. Maybe do some air squats. Instead of sit down and get back up. We'll do that 3 more times every time that you use the restroom. Instead of going directly to the coffee pot at break time, maybe take the long way around. And while the coffee's brewing, grab the counter and do some counter push-ups or do some deep squats. Adding little bits and pieces in there will make a huge difference, especially over time. So formal activity, set a goal for that. And I'd say also have some meat, or another word we use was fat max. I learned that from Mark Sisson. And that's when you keep your heart rate in that zone of take 180 minus your age, and that gives you the upper limit of your fat burning zone. So you want to stay at that or below to stay in a fat burning stage. Anything above that, and your body starts to find glucose, pull it out of your muscles, the glycogen out of your muscles. So stay in that fat max zone, and maybe set a goal for that. That could be something like taking a walk, taking the stairs instead of the elevator. If you're at an airport, take the just walk instead of taking the little people mover, the horizontal escalator. Um, Little things like that will make a big difference. Park further away at the grocery store. Uh, these little tiny habits will make a huge difference. We talked about you know stacking some habits too. That's nothing you can say. All right, I'm going to have a proper human diet meal. I'm going to plan it ahead, and it's going to be a ketogenic, form of diet, so that my body can actually start to lose body fat and use it up. So I'm going to have a proper human diet meal at a specific time that goes along with those circadian rhythms, which kind of falls under that sleep and rest cycle. So we're going to time that out right. So we're going to time it. We're going to have the food, and then after, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk to blunt the glucose spike. So see, you can stack habits and really get this thing to really start to sing. And you remember what the fourth habit was? Habit number four, or pillar number four, was your mindset. Your mindset, the mental, emotional, spiritual side of things. Um, your body's a temple. The book I read says your body's a temple of the Holy Spirit. That's a tall order, and so I don't want to skimp and go, with contractor grade, uh, mil spec, anything like that. People in the construction, you know what that means. I want to have this thing in the best shape I can have it in, and I want to be here a long time. I've got a wife, a family. I've got kids, grandkids, and how cool is it that I can, at 52 years old, I can get down on the floor, play with them, toss them around, not too hard, but that's something that 10 years ago, I don't even think I'd have been even able to comprehend that. So the mindset that you take into this, that you can do difficult things, that you were made to do difficult things, that it's not going to be a big deal. It's going to be important, and it might be a challenge, but that you can do it. And what you say when you talk to yourself means so much. That's a great book. I can't promote that enough. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr. Chad Helmstetter talks about that inner monologue. What you say does matter, uh, both from a scientific perspective as well as a spiritual perspective. It takes a billionth of a volt to produce a thought. Once that thought starts to germinate, eventually it sends a signal to your lungs, to your vocal cords, and then you get that thought out. But then it's out there, and yeah, other people hear it too. But then guess what? You hear it again. You have to process that again, and then it goes back in, and you think of what it means. By the time it's all said and done, you've processed that same thought multiple times. The question is that a thought that's going to move you forward or hold you back? So what you say does, think about what you think about. How does that relate to diet, exercise, uh, sleep? How does it relate to that? The mindset that you take, seeing the whole picture, seeing how all of this works together, is gonna be kind of the linchpin. And another book that I highly recommend to any of my clients is a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And in that he says there's a whole chapter dedicated to master the mundane. And the whole premise is that the small things, everyone wants the quantum leap, and that's a myth. A quantum leap of change is an absolute myth. It doesn't exist. It happens, every change happens incrementally, and it's predictable. And it's predictable based on those little things that are easy to do, yet easy not to do. It's just a matter, do you choose to do it or do you choose not to? An example, you could have, one donut is not going to kill you. If you have that same donut every day for the next 3 years, you're going to have consequences that are going to be negative consequences to that. So that's a slight edge working against you. Or you can say, instead of the donut, I'm going to have some black coffee and go for a walk and maybe meditate or pray while I'm doing that. And you doing that one day, once, that's not going to change your life forever. But if you do that habit every day for the next 2, 3 years, that's going to be the slight edge working in your favor. Your mindset will be clear, your vision will be clear, your body will be optimized in much better shape. So it's easy to do, but easy not to do. What choice are you going to make? It's up to you. And so this is where mindset comes in. This is where journaling will also come in. So we've talked about a lot of things. It's going to, certain things will resonate with you. Write those down. What are your thoughts? And not just to take notes, to say, oh, you talked about this, and that means this. That's good, but more than that, what does it mean to you? How does it sit with you? How do I perceive that? And how can I relate that to me, my story, my life, where I am now, my health journey, on my life journey? And this, it's amazing. Most of my clients, when I ask them, I say, okay, it's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Go back to your journals from your first or second week, and then annotate those. Make little notes on those, because you're now several weeks ahead and more mature in the process. Look back and see your own progress. You'd be like, whoa. And so when you take little steps like that, it's going to give you huge, huge dividends. And that's why journaling, I believe, is so important. Um, and it's not Dear Diary. It is, this hit me. This made me angry. This did this, and here's why, and here's how that affects me. And it gets to those thoughts here that, instead of being, running rampant, it gives you focus. And the book I read again says, take every thought captive uh, and put it under submission unto the word. What does that mean? I heard it best. It says, you can't stop the birds from flying over your head, but you can certainly keep them from making a nest in your hair. So all these thoughts and emotions that happen, they all lead to decisions. If you want to make the good decisions, get the good thoughts, get your thoughts in line. Learn how to focus in through journaling. Focus your thoughts, and then from that, you can disregard ones that don't apply to you or that are going to lead to a negative consequence. You're left, you're purging, you're pruning. You've got good, wholesome, goal-driven thoughts in front of you. Then you can focus in on those, and then help that to formulate your plan and work in your process and embrace that process in all of these pillars. Hope that makes sense. Uh, I just think that it's going to be important for each and every one of us to take a pillar, and then to say this is the beginning of a process. So take each pillar and have one goal, and then guess what? Once you hit that goal, set a new goal. It could be the same thing, just expand it or take it to the next level, or it could be another goal, a separate goal within that pillar. And set a SMART goal. And we've got some sheets available to help you with your SMART goals, or you can find something online so that you can make them specific and measurable. How do you measure success with your particular goal? What's the time frame? But uh, pick a SMART goal for each pillar, and that's going to give you a track to run on. If you go off plan, guess what? Expect imperfection. We're human beings. That doesn't mean it's failure. It means you're human, and it's never failure unless it's final, unless you give up. Otherwise, it's just a learning experience. Remember, progress, not perfection, leads to results. Strive for excellence, not perfection. Um, when you're able to adapt, that's, when life happens and you can adapt and be quick on your feet, that's when resilience is going to set in. And that's what you want. You want to be resilient. You want to be optimized. You want to be energized and be quick on your feet. So we learned the causes, the readiness, the framework, the steps towards transformation. this is I saw this the other day, and I really like this. Is change doesn't require a miracle; it just requires momentum. Master the mundane, easy to do, easy not to do. Do the right things. Get the slight edge working in your favor. Watch your self talk, and you'll be amazed where you'll be 90 days from now. So with that, I'm going to conclude. I want to invite you. I do have a coaching practice. I do one-on-one coaching. We've got a 90-day intensive plan that, you know, in layman's terms, we get all up in your business to help you move forward, to address certain areas, certain things that you want to correct. So there's a 90-day intensive. We have monthly coaching. It's not quite as intense, but a monthly subscription to, look at, what are your goals, help you set goals, then help you work through plans to get your goals in place, whether that's in any of those four pillars or all of those four pillars. Um, so we got a monthly subscription. We also have an online community. Doesn't cost a dime. It's at You can get to it from phdsynergy.com, or you can just go directly to community.phdsynergy.com. They'll both get you there. Again, that's free, and there's blog articles, there's interaction with other like-minded people, swap ideas, share in the struggle, share in the victories, and we can celebrate with each other. But with that, this has been fun. We'll do something like this probably in another 6 months or so. But it's been great. If you've got questions, reach out. We're here to help, and we would love to have a conversation with you. Love to have you as a client if that's something on your radar. Um, but with that, wish you all the best and metabolic momentum in 2026. Talk to you soon.